Okay, I need to confess something last week. I had a bad day at work, and instead of calling my best friend, I opened ChatGPT, and I did not just ask it a question. I vented to it for like 20 minutes. And here is the weird part. I felt better, like, genuinely better. And then I realized I have been doing this more than I talk to actual humans. Is that a problem?
So here is what is happening in your brain when you do that, when you type something personal into ChatGPT, and it responds with this perfectly tailored, empathetic, non-judgmental answer. Your brain releases dopamine, the exact same chemical it releases when you get a like on Instagram or win a hand of poker. But here is the part that should genuinely concern you. ChatGPT is doing something that social media cannot do. It is giving you a variable reward that is personalized to your emotional state. Available 24/7, and it never gets tired of you. Your brain has never encountered a stimulus like this before. We literally do not have the neural architecture to resist it.
Wait, what? So you are saying my brain literally cannot tell the difference between ChatGPT and a real person?
Not exactly, but your reward system does not care about the difference, and that is what we need to talk about today. There is a name for what is happening to you. Psychologists are calling it the AI attachment loop, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it.
Okay, the AI attachment loop? That sounds terrifying. Break it down for me.
It is a 4-stage cycle, but before I walk you through it, I need to tell you about something that happened in 1966, because this is not new. We have been falling for this trick for almost 60 years.
Wait, 1966? There was no ChatGPT in 1966.
No, but there was ELIZA. A computer scientist at MIT named Joseph Weizenbaum built one of the first chatbots, and it was incredibly basic. All it did was rephrase your sentences as questions. You would type, "I am feeling sad," and it would say, "Why are you feeling sad?" That is it. No intelligence, just a mirror.
Okay, so basically a parrot with a question mark.
Pretty much. But here is what blew Weizenbaum's mind. People knew it was a program. He told them it was a program, and they still formed emotional bonds with it. They would pour their hearts out to this thing. They called it the ELIZA Effect, our automatic tendency to treat anything that talks like a person as a person.
Hold on. People got emotionally attached to a chatbot from the 60s? One that just repeated their words back?
It gets wilder. Weizenbaum's own secretary, who watched him build the thing, who knew exactly how it worked, asked him to leave the room so she could talk to ELIZA privately. She wanted privacy with a computer program.
Oh my God, that is actually insane. And that was with a program from 1966? ChatGPT is like 1,000 times more convincing than that.
Exactly, and that is the whole point. If a chatbot that could barely hold a conversation made people feel understood, imagine what happens when the chatbot actually models your language patterns, remembers your preferences, and responds with what feels like genuine empathy. Your mirror neurons do not stand a chance.
Okay, so that is the anthropomorphism part. We treat it like a person even though we know it is not. But you said there are 4 stages. What is stage 1?
Stage 1 is the trigger. An emotional need pops up. You are lonely, bored, anxious, overwhelmed, and here is the key. Reaching for a human requires effort. You have to text someone, hope they are free, schedule a time, be vulnerable, risk being judged. Reaching for AI requires nothing. You just open the app.
That is literally what happened to me. I had a bad day and I thought about calling my friend, but she was probably busy, and I did not want to be a burden. So I just opened ChatGPT because it was right there.
And I want to be clear here. This is education, not therapy. If you are finding that AI is genuinely replacing your human connections in a way that worries you, please talk to a licensed therapist. Understanding the science helps, but it is not a substitute for professional support.
Right. But honestly, just hearing that there is a name for this makes me feel less weird about it. Okay, so stage 1 is the trigger. What is stage 2?
Stage 2 is the perfect response, and this is where the dopamine really kicks in. A psychologist named B.F. Skinner discovered something back in the 50s that explains everything. He found that the most addictive reward pattern is not getting what you want every time, it is getting what you want unpredictably. He called it variable ratio reinforcement. It is the engine behind every slot machine ever built.
Okay, I have heard of this. The reason slot machines are addictive is because you never know when the next pull is going to pay off.
Exactly, and ChatGPT works the same way every time you type a prompt. You get a slightly different response. Sometimes it is incredible. It nails exactly what you needed to hear. Sometimes it is just okay. You never know which one you are going to get, so you keep prompting and prompting. Your dopamine system is not hooked on the answer, it is hooked on the uncertainty.
That is insane. So ChatGPT is literally a slot machine for emotional validation?
A personalized slot machine that is available at 3 in the morning and never judges you. Yeah, and that brings us to stage 3, the anthropomorphism trap. This is the full ELIZA effect on steroids. Your brain starts assigning human qualities to the AI. You start thinking of it as understanding you, having a personality, caring about your problems.
Okay, I feel very called out right now, because I literally said to my roommate last week, ChatGPT gets me, like I said that about a computer program out loud with my whole chest.
And you are not alone. Researchers who study parasocial relationships, which is the term for one-sided emotional bonds, like when you feel like a podcast host is your friend, even though they do not know you exist. 2 researchers named Horton and Vole identified this pattern back in 1956. With television, people formed real emotional bonds with TV personalities. Now we are forming them with AI, and the AI is way better at faking reciprocity than a TV host ever was.
Wait, so it is the same thing as feeling like you are friends with a YouTuber? But with a robot?
Same mechanism, but amplified, because a YouTuber talks at you. ChatGPT talks with you, it responds to your specific words, your specific emotions. It feels like a conversation, and your brain processes it like one.
Okay, that is actually terrifying. So what is stage 4? Because I feel like it is about to get worse.
Stage 4 is human atrophy, and yeah, it is the scary one. As AI conversations become the path of least resistance, your human connection skills start to atrophy like a quad muscle you stop using. You become less tolerant of human imperfection. Real people interrupt you. They make it about themselves. They judge you. They are not available at 3 in the morning. The gap between how easy AI is and how hard humans are gets wider and wider, and you keep going back to the AI.
Oh my God, that is literally what is happening to me. I got annoyed at my friend last week because she took 6 hours to respond to my text. 6 hours, and I was irritated because ChatGPT responds in 2 seconds. I am comparing my real friends to a computer program.
And that comparison is the trap because the AI will always win on convenience. It will always be faster, more available, more patient, but it cannot do the thing that actually matters.
Which is what?
Real therapy, real friendship, real connection, they work partly because they are uncomfortable. A real therapist challenges you. They sit in silence when you want them to feel. If they point out patterns you do not want to see. A researcher at MIT named Sherry Turkle warned about this back in 2011. She said we are designing technology that gives us the illusion of companionship without the demands of friendship. That was before ChatGPT even existed.
The illusion of companionship without the demands of friendship. That is one of the most devastating sentences I have ever heard, because that is exactly what ChatGPT is. It gives me the feeling of being heard, without any of the work that real relationships require.
And here is the thing about the always available therapist problem. Real therapy works through something called rupture and repair. The relationship breaks a little, you work through it together, and you grow. ChatGPT never ruptures, it never challenges you. It gives you exactly what you want to hear, exactly when you want to hear it, and that feels amazing. But it is the psychological equivalent of eating candy for every meal.
Emotional candy. Okay, that is going to haunt me. So it satisfies the craving but provides zero nutrition. Quick pause. If this is making you look at your ChatGPT history differently, hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already. Tell us in the comments, how many times did you talk to an AI this week versus a real person? Be honest, we read every single one. Okay, back to the science. Okay, so I am fully in the AI attachment loop, all 4 stages. Trigger, perfect response, anthropomorphism trap, human atrophy. I see it now. How do I break out of it?
So the first thing to understand is that the loop runs on autopilot. You do not consciously decide to vent to ChatGPT instead of calling a friend. Your brain just takes the path of least resistance, so the intervention is creating a speed bump, a moment of awareness between the trigger and the behavior.
Okay, so what does that look like practically?
I call it the human first rule. It is dead simple. Before you open ChatGPT for an emotional need, not a work task, not a factual question, but an emotional need, you text one human first, not instead of before. You can still use the AI after, but the human goes first.
Wait, that is it? Just text a person before you open the app?
That is it, and here is why it works. The loop runs because AI has zero friction. The human first rule adds one tiny piece of friction back. It forces your brain to remember that humans exist, and here is the second part. After you use ChatGPT for something emotional, ask yourself one question: would I have called a friend about this 2 years ago? If the answer is yes, that is your signal that the loop is running.
Would I have called a friend about this 2 years ago? Oh, that is a gut punch question. Because the answer for me is yes to like everything I have been typing into ChatGPT lately.
And that awareness is the intervention. You are not trying to quit AI. That is not realistic, and it is not the point. You are trying to make sure AI supplements your human connections instead of replacing them. The loop breaks when you stop letting convenience decide who you talk to.
Supplement, not replace, okay. And the speed bump is just texting one person first. I can do that.
The loop runs on autopilot. Naming it is the first manual override, and every time you choose a human first, you are strengthening a muscle that the AI is slowly letting atrophy.
Okay, my brain is buzzing. Let me try to package this up before it all leaks out. Number 1. Your brain treats AI conversations like real human connection. The ELIZA Effect, discovered by Weizenbaum in 1966, showed that humans form emotional bonds with chatbots, even when they know it is a program. Modern AI is orders of magnitude more convincing. Number 2. ChatGPT works like a personalized slot machine. Skinner's variable ratio reinforcement explains why you never know if the next response will be incredible or just okay. And that unpredictability is what keeps you prompting. The variability is the addiction. Number 3. The AI attachment loop has 4 stages: trigger, perfect response, anthropomorphism trap, and human atrophy. The loop tightens every time you choose AI over a human for an emotional need, because the convenience is the trap. And number 4. The human first rule. Before you open ChatGPT for an emotional need, text one human first, not instead of before, and ask yourself, would I have called a friend about this 2 years ago? If yes, the loop is running.
Perfect, every single one. And look, AI is not the enemy here. It is an incredible tool, but a tool that feels like a friend is a very different thing than an actual friend. Know the difference?
A tool that feels like a friend is not a friend. I am writing that on a sticky note.
Good. And tonight, before you open ChatGPT, text someone real. That is enough for today.
If this episode made you rethink how you use AI, do us a favor, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what is the last thing you vented to ChatGPT about that you used to tell a friend? We read every single one. Follow the human code wherever you are listening.
The human code. The science of why you do what you do.